a very beautiful morning. The sun is out, but there is still some frost on the fields. Yes, very beautiful. Today's first task is to get this box installed. This one. I was trying different locations and I settled for this location because this faces like northeast, so the box itself will be in the sun very little. And during summertime, when it's mainly used and when it's mainly charging, it needs to be cool, so it's good that it's in the shade. Also, it will be taking advantage of the cover that is provided by this roof itself. It will be underneath this. Obviously, I will put it a bit higher. It will not be on the ground, so I don't have to worry about snow and such. And another location that I was considering was in front of the house here, and the third location was there, but this is in the sun, and measured the sound, so I put some temporary extension cord and put it to charge the battery, so the fans would turn on and it would make the noise that it does. And I concluded that this side of the house is best because this is the side where the road is. We hardly ever go here, so the noise will be the least disturbing here. I also checked that you cannot absolutely hear it inside. If it was placed like here, then I could very well hear it on the terrace. But when I put it here, then it's already far enough that you don't really hear it. Now I had some leftover conduit. This is used for running wires underground, but I checked that this is also UV proof, and then I can use this to attach it to the wall and run it to the attic where all the other cables will come from. And I already drilled a hole, so this can go in here to a nice 90-degree bend, so all the wires will enter from there. I used this kind of tool to make the hole. Obviously I'll have to make it waterproof, and it has to be on a proper 90-degree angle so it wouldn't get any moisture in there. Between the panel and the wall I will put fireproof cement, and this metal obviously will not let the fire spread, but if the metal gets very hot, then this cement plate here will not let the wood catch on fire. Currently my electricity comes from there underground and enters to the house here. Here I have a breaker, and currently the cable like goes from there, and the main electrical is on the other side of the house. I can actually swap over the wire, so I just detach it from here and I actually run it out to there and into the box, so I don't have to replace the wire or anything. And then I run a new wire from the electrical to this main one. So I checked I only need like 10 meters of new wire. I had some old wire, but this is exactly like 8 meters, so it's a little bit too short. Here are currently my 8 solar panels. So to attach the bolts, we actually just drilled holes through here. These go through, and then we use a washer on top and a nut. So these go through the roof. We put some sealant here, and at the moment they're like a bit roughly placed, and we use like created this tiny ladder, and this enables us to move around. To get up to the roof we use this A-frame ladder. We already put also all the clamps for all the panels, so then later we don't have to attach them. We will place the last fourth one of these rails, and then we will use string to make it all nice and level. It took us about 5 hours yesterday to do this. It's probably the shittiest type of roof you can have for that, because moving around the roof is a bit difficult. We also placed all the bolts. We tried to choose these beams that are on top of the wave, because that's more waterproof than. Ah yeah, and this is our measuring stick. So we have two different lengths that we need to measure, so we use that to get it nice and parallel. Last panel. Whew. So yeah, I can be happy with that. I think the most difficult part about this installation process was the roof rails, because when I chose the material for the roof, then I didn't plan to place any solar panels on top of it. And also the reason why I chose it was because of the competitive price of bitumen roof, and the previous roof material was exactly the same. This meant that the roof was actually built based on this material measurements. So for me it was the most cost effective to replace the roof with the same type of material. If I had gone for a metal roof or something else, then it would have carried more cost than just the cost difference of the roof material. Installing the panels on this bitumen roof where you're not supposed to walk on was very difficult, because we constantly had to use this ladder, and it was the only place where we were allowed to step on. Definitely in this kind of roof situation there is no way you will do this work alone. I did it with my friend, so it was two of us, and I don't think it's would have been even possible to do alone. Everyone keeps talking about snow and shade. Why does no one talk about leaves in the fall? So yeah, like basically a week in, you can see I have a bunch of leaves. Stop ruining my energy production, you fucking leaves. I wouldn't say that it took me long, but I can imagine that. I mean, this is very tiny house. It's very low. So it's pretty easy for me to clean it. This is something you should keep in mind, because if your roof is inaccessible or very difficult to access, it's maybe very high building, then cleaning off debris from your panels might be difficult. So far, even now it's last days of October, and at the moment it's able to sustain itself, so the battery voltage is not dropping every day. A couple of these wires are not properly attached to the upper side of the panel, so they're like hanging here. I did use these metal clips to attach the wires, but some of them actually popped out while we were putting the panels down. And honestly, we were already in a time crunch, because we were planning to do it in one day, but it took 2 days to install these panels. So I was, at the moment of installing them, I was already tired, and I just wanted to be done with it. And now I have like four connections that I would like to raise up a bit and push behind the edge, but we will see how that will turn out. Yesterday I did manage to push up some of the cables. Basically this lower one I managed, the upper one I didn't. It's not too bad. It's not inside of the ridge though, it's like on the top. On this side it was more complicated, because we actually tilted the panels like this, so that side is higher than this side, so this gets closer to the roof, because the south is that side. I have a relay. My first choice would be to use this to switch the current. So ideal solution would be that this measures the temperature here, but I freaking hate these I2C temperature sensors. I think this is a BMP 280 or BME 280 or something like that. Always problems with them, always. As a backup plan, I have this temperature regulator, and these heating mats are below here, so obviously I have to do the wiring for this. And this is precisely why it's better to prepare everything in your garage, because then you don't have to soldier outside. So I've noticed that since it's under the roof, then when it's raining, then doing any work here is totally impossible. I did get a different temperature sensor. I got the 3-wire one, DS18B20. I hope this is easier to use. This is the current situation. The heater packs are below here. I hooked them up and used a bit of tape to keep the wires nice. I was just testing the heating pad, so I wanted it to be close so I could get immediate feedback. I did use some tape and also fasteners to lock these wires in. And here also this thing I already attached to the wall. This is just extra string so I can pull through new cables if I ever need to. The PV cables are running now from behind here into the inverter. No cables are touching each other. It might look a bit messy, but they're really separated from each other. One thing I will do is I will add a fuse here as well, just because this negative cable goes kind of near to all of these other things, and at the moment, let's say if this negative cable here would touch here somehow, then there is no fuse, because there's no fuse on this side here and there's no fuse on this side here. So I will place an additional fuse here, so if something does go wrong on this side, so it does have already a 5 amp fuse here for the heater element, so if this starts to consume more, it will blow a fuse here. And of course this is the big fuse for the inverter in case something happens there. Not too happy with the inside of this box. It's a bit messy. So yeah, pretty happy with it. Now I'm pretty sure this heater element will not be enough, so if it's not enough I will add one layer between the two batteries as well, so this way both batteries will have, you know, some sort of heating elements. This I programmed in a way that it will turn on when it's below 0, when there is no PV charging. If there is any sunlight, then it will turn on from 5 degrees. So I'll try to keep the batteries warm throughout the winter. I hope I don't have to come here in the middle of the winter to like reset something here, or this is the last time I'll be here during the season, so I hope everything works. The utility comes in from there, from underground, goes all the way up through the side. From there it goes also all the way to back there. And the solar panel connection is here. They go immediately into a breaker, and then from here they also go down there. That one is utility coming in, and this one is going from the inverter to the main electrical box. So yeah, that's why I didn't add any extra breakers into the inverter box, because I have 2 breakers already here. And the PV disconnect is in the attic, so if I need to do something I just have to go and turn it off. I'm not gonna put extra fuses. Let's go over the cost of my solar project. So the main components totaled 1,607 euros. That is the solar panels, the batteries and the inverter. So this is well within my realistic budget of 2,000 euros. So the panels cost 734 euros, the batteries 664 euros, and the inverter 208 euros. However, the total cost of the entire build was around 2,400 euros. Extra cost from just not the main components is about 800 euros, which is not the panels, not the inverter, so it's all the cabling, monitoring, safety. Biggest cost, but only at 30%, was the panels. So then the second cost was the batteries at 27%. To my surprise, 20% of the entire project cost was installation. The solar rails, the metal box and its restoration, the solar clamps, and so forth. So silicone, insulation material, roof screws. Individually they don't cost that much, but it adds up really fast. And then at fourth place, already at 8.6%, we have the inverter. At 7% we have the wiring, so these special PV cables, wire conductors and so forth. In my initial preparation video I was saying that I might want to do the installation or the project with 1,000 euro budget. This calculation was based on my initial thought. If I have one battery, 4 panels and an inverter, then those 3 components would have cost total of 935 euros. And then of course installation, but already from here I can see that it would never have been under 1,000 euros, even with these 4 panels and 1 battery. It was a surprise for me how many these tiny things you might need. But yeah, I think the main thing to watch out for is that if you don't have the things that you need in advance, then you can end up paying for them quite a lot more. I think the best example is this one-wire temperature sensor. I paid 8 euros for it. And this is because I bought it from a countryside local electronic shop. I know that from AliExpress I can get this sensor for probably less than €1. The same goes for some other parts like installation materials, these rails and clamps. I'm pretty sure I could have gotten them for a bit better price. For sure also here the transportation cost was 50 euro, but this was only the transportation of the panels. I did not calculate my own gas money to drive there because honestly for the installation I didn't go there once. I went there multiple times and I'm sure that I spent another 100 euros on gas only just to get there and get back home. I have also at least made 2 drives there only for network connection things. So you literally go there, I don't know, replace the SIM card and you drive back and poof, 30 euros gone. So in that sense it's a bit hilarious if we take into account electricity cost that is there, but as I said already in the beginning of the series, the purpose of this video series is not to save a lot of money, it's more educational and energy independence. So in that sense I'm not like mad. I finished most of the installation in November. If I would have to do it all over again, then I think I would rather start in the spring, and I already know what I could improve. However, there is absolutely no way that during the winter I'll go there and run some extra cables for some things and so forth. So thank you for watching the video to the end. In my next video I will already talk about ESP, home assistant, remote network access and so forth. I really love the Celica because it's a fucking transporter. I think it's one of the things that gets a bit overlooked with the Celica, but there is absolutely no way to fit this in the Lexus IS. I tried, believe me. So if you have a big family and you're considering getting the Lexus IS or the Celica, then definitely get the Celica. You will fit way more.